Hi, gang. I just wanted to send out another quick reminder here of a couple things. Number one, I've had over half of all the students now starting the course, which is great. I said it at the end of our last video, and I want to make sure we remember this that after Friday, any student who has not started the course will end up being dropped from the course. And that'll take place on Monday, the 30th. So if you could maybe nudge those who haven't been started just to make sure they get in and get going, that would be very much appreciated. Again, I don't see students in person to be able to do that, so I have to rely on a little bit of extra help here, and that's coming from you. So any help you could provide would be great. I'll be updating grades today from Schoology to PowerSchool. So if you look in PowerSchool, you'll see up-to-date grades. Again, if you want to see the most up-to-date, most recent grades, if you use the Schoology gradebook, that is as up-to-date as they come. So using the gradebook, it's on the left side of the screen, whether it's the parent or student screen, and it says grades. So that's something that can be of value to you a little bit. I did want to briefly talk about I mentioned the pacing guide, and it says that this module should be wrapping up here by about the end of the weekend. So there's a couple things that are in here, and I think this is one that a lot of parents are a little bit unfamiliar with, and that's the whole permit process. So if you're like myself, whenever you got your permit, within a couple days you could go for your license, and that has changed, which is a good thing. So I wanted to go over just the general process of getting your permit, and then once you have your permit, getting the license. So this link right here, how to become licensed, is really valuable. It pulls up this document right here, and this is something that is basically covers all the information you need to know. So it talks about the fees, talks about how you have to apply for the permit and things like that. These are the items right here that have to be taken to the DMV. Harrisburg no longer does driver licensing services or permits. So there is a Summerdale Plaza, which is or in Enola. It pretty much is a great facility. It's pretty quick. You can get in and out pretty quick, especially if you go at a downtime. So need to have a permit application. The backside of that application, there is a doctor's signature. All right. So they do have to be seen by a physician, where they have to sign basically saying that they can physically drive a vehicle. There's a parent guardian consent form. Need to bring some proof of birth. Most people will use a birth certificate. You could take a passport if you want, that would work. Valid social security card has to be the original. Both of these have to be the originals. So if you misplace one, you might have to reapply for one, and it takes a couple weeks usually to do that. And then the last thing would be the fee has to be paid. And that fee covers the actual license in the first 4 years of being licensed. Right. So those are the items that have to be taken to the DMV when you're going for your permit. As far as the test itself, the permit test somewhere in here talks about it. Sorry, I'm flipping through here a little fast, but there are a series of 18 questions, and students have to get 15 out of those 18 questions correct. There is an app that I highly recommend for all students to download, and it will actually go through and it will ask the exact same questions that they'll see when they go to the DMV. If you type in PA permit, it'll show up. It's a little blue square that kind of comes up, and highly, highly recommend students do that. And they can do that well before they turn 16. Once they get their permit, hopefully they get it on the first try. If they don't get it on the first try, they have to go wait at least a day to come back. But once they do that, they're supposed to be accumulating 65 hours of behind the wheel driving. 5 are supposed to be in bad weather, and then 10 are supposed to be occurring at nighttime. They have to wait a minimum of 6 months. So you do have to do that. And the big thing is scheduling the actual license exam. So I highly recommend, as soon as the permit is achieved, go on. There's a website where you can schedule the actual driver exam. And if you have to, you can always modify that date. But typically, they're at least a month or so out whenever it comes to actually scheduling that exam. So the quicker you can do it, the better off. The day of the actual test, these are the items that need to be brought with the person who's trying to get their license. All right, there's some other information in here. It talks about the junior licenses and a couple restrictions, which is the curfew law and the passenger law. And then it talks a little bit about receiving a regular driver's license, going from a junior to a regular. Part of it is completing this course. All right, the other part would be behind the wheel driving. I've had some parents ask about that. We do not offer behind the wheel driving here in the district. If you want to do it, you have to go and get a kind of a private company that offers it. There's a couple in the area. If you need questions or have any questions about that, you can certainly send me a message and I'll give you some information. Those are the big bits of information that I want you to be familiar with and students to be familiar with. If you ever have any questions outside of that, again, please message me. Thanks.